Everybody, today I am ranking candies. So we got S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, and never tried. Alright, first up, we got 100 Rand. I'm honestly kind of thinking an A tier. It's really good, can't really go that wrong with it. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of just like a crunch bar with caramel on the inside, which is pretty good, in my opinion. Alright, then Three Musketeers. I would go B. I like the just flavor of the inside of them, but it's also just like kind of a repetitive flavor. I've never had Fifth Avenue, and I also haven't had these Airheads Extreme Sour. Next up, normal Airheads. They're classic. I will go A tier, then the mints. So I've always gotten these at Olive Garden. They are amazing. They're so nostalgic for me, so I'm gonna go S tier for them. Then Baby Ruth's D tier. I'm not that big of a fan of them. I've never had bottle caps. And these, I'll also go D tier. They're just like too sweet for me. And and Butterfingers aren't the best in my opinion, but also not the worst. And I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but I absolutely hate those Cadbury cream eggs. I think they're disgusting. And I've never had whatever those are. The candy buttons I haven't had. Then candy canes are solid A tier. I like the flavor of them. But it's honestly just really good. And then these, I don't know what they are. I haven't had them. Candy corn is a C tier. A lot of people hate on it, but I don't. I honestly kind of think it's okay. I'm not the biggest fan, but also I don't hate it a lot. Alright, and then these are an A tier for me because they're just pretty nostalgic. How I had them when I was like 5 years old. And I remember I always got them at birthday parties. Alright, these are solid B tier. I honestly really enjoy them. I have never had a Charleston Chew. Haven't had whatever this is. Almond Joys, I extremely love almonds. So that's a B tier. I've had them before. I don't know what that is. Dots are a solid B also. I like the flavors they have. A lot of people say that they're like taste artificial, but I do taste artificial flavoring in it, but it's also, in my opinion, just kind of a solid candy. I have not had these. And then Dum Dums Lollipop. Those, in my opinion, are amazing. They're classic. I gotta go S tier with those. Fun Dip, I will go A tier because I honestly just feel like it's extremely good and just fun to eat. I've never had one of them. I'm not sure what that is, and I have not had that before. A Gobstopper, I'm gonna give a B tier. They're pretty good. And then Haribo Gummy Bears, or Gold Bears, are an S tier. They are absolutely amazing. And then the not cotton candy, the gummy Krabby Patty mini thing is really good, so I'd give that a solid A tier. Then gummy worms, pretty much the same reason as the gummy bears, but I don't feel like they really deserve S tier that much. I even had one of these health things. Then Hershey's almond. You guys know I love almonds, so those will go with Almond Joys. Then normal Hershey's, honestly, an A tier. Wait, what's that do? Oh, I did not know that. Alright, a lot of people hate on the cookies and cream Hershey's, but I honestly love it. So I'm going to give it an A tier. And then Hershey's Kiss, I'll put it with the Hershey's bar. Haven't had whatever that is. Hubba Bubba is honestly a C tier. Then this Hubba Bubba is honestly, in my opinion, better. Do I even need to explain why one of the why a Jawbreaker is just good? In my opinion, it's just fun to eat. Alright, then Jelly Belly, I'm not that big of a fan of. But Jolly Ranchers, I'm a extremely big fan of, so I will give them an A tier. Junior Mints, I don't really like them that much. But Kit Kats deserve a B in my opinion. And Laffy Taffy Sticks, I do not like. I prefer just normal. But then Lemon Heads, I like a bit more than those. Alright, then the Gummy Lifesavers are a B. But the hard candy Lifesavers, in my opinion, are a solid A. Alright, but then the mints, also an A. I have never had the caramel M&Ms. And then I'm pretty sure that is peanut butter M&Ms. I haven't had them before. I have had peanut M&Ms, which in my opinion are good. But then normal M&Ms are honestly better. Haven't had a Mars or Mentos. Milk Duds are just not good. Am I able to add it? Alright. I'm gonna add... I'll just add an F tier here. Alright. I haven't had those. I accidentally got rid of them in there. So then Milky Way, I will go with a C tier, honestly. Actually, D. I'm not that big of a fan of them. Mounds, they're pretty much, they're literally just Almond Joys without the almond. And I prefer Almond Joys over them. And a Mr. Goodbar, that has to go A tier for me. And then Nerds Ropes. I cannot say that I've had them, but normal Nerds are a C. Sometimes they get too sweet, but then the Crunch Bar is, for me, is an S tier. You don't really see them that often besides in Lunchables, but they're extremely good. And then the wax bottles, those are a solid B. I get them a lot. Then Paydays, in my opinion, are an F. I don't like them. Alright, and then a Peep, I would go with a D. I just don't really like how they're shaped. They get too sweet too fast for me. And then a Peppermint is a solid B tier. I normally get them around Christmas, pretty much just a round candy cane. And then Pez, I always got them when I was like really young, and then sometimes I get them even now because they're just good. So that's why they're an A tier. Then Pixie Sticks, I honestly feel like they deserve an S tier. They are just extremely good a lot of the time. And I know I said that some of the stuff gets too sweet too fast, but that's when, like, I'm eating them consecutively. Normally, I get a limit on Pixie Sticks. And then Push Pops, those I cannot say I've had. Then I also haven't had a Reese's Fast Break. But then the Reese's Pieces are a solid B tier. I honestly really enjoy them, but I prefer them over normal Reese's. Alright, then a Ring Pop. I honestly feel like it's an A tier. Kind of it's not S because it's honestly uncomfortable to hold and it just gets everywhere. Then I'm not sure what that is. so it'll have to go with the never tried. Then original Skittles are an S tier in my opinion, because they're just like kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but they're kind of like chewy, but they're pretty much M&Ms, just softer and without the chocolate, which I honestly enjoy. Alright, then Smarties. I always used to, everyone I knew, and I always like crushed them up and ate them. But so they're a C. And then a Snickers. That would honestly have to go with a D. Then Trolley Sour Bite Crawlers, I love. So that is an S tier. Same thing with Sour Patch Kids. I extremely enjoy sour candy. Alright, Starburst. Honestly, a C. Not that big of a fan, but also not a huge hater. And then a Swedish Fish. Honestly, a D. I don't really like the taste of them that much. Alright. And then Sweet Tarts I have never had. Sweet Tarts Chewies I also haven't ever had. And then Throwback Sweet Tarts I haven't had. And then Toblerone Bar I have had. And it's okay. I'm not the biggest fan, but also not the worst fan. Alright. And then these lollipops, honestly, I have to give them a D tier. They're just like, I feel like they're Tootsie Pops. The chocolate doesn't really go well with the hard candy, in my opinion. Alright, and then the flavored Tootsie Rolls are an A tier for me. And then a normal Tootsie Roll is also an A tier, because they're just kind of like chewy, but not repetitive, because normally you don't have them all the time. Alright, and then Twix, in my opinion, is a D. I prefer the mini Twix, but yeah, I'm not that big of a fan of them. Then Twizzlers, in my opinion, are an F. I do not like them. And then Welch's Fruit Snacks are a B. They're honestly a classic, and I really like them. I've never had the Weathers original stuff. Whoppers, on the other hand, I always have with my grandma. So they're honestly an A tier for me. I'm not sure what I just moved. I have never had one of those mint things, and then I think this is pretzel M&Ms. Haven't had them. I have had these. They're pretty good. I'm gonna give them an A tier. And then I've never had those or Runts. Alright, these candies right here are phenomenal. They're always at a grandparent's house. Don't know where they get them, but they just do. I have never had that, this, Goobers, Snow Caps, Hot Tamales. Mike and Likes they're a C tier for me. I honestly like them. Haven't had Good and Plenty. Haven't had that. Alright. These are an A tier for me. I really enjoy them. They're extremely good. Have never had a High Chew or Zero. But Nerds Gummy Clusters are honestly a B tier for me. Not the worst, but it's not the best. I have not had this, that, or Sour Mike and Ike's. But I have had Warhead's Extreme Sour, and I really love sour candy, so that's going to go A tier for me. And then, looks like some more peppermints. I'll have to put them with the other ones, because they're honestly just pretty good. I honestly enjoy them. because these ones you also get around Christmas, but they just kind of like have more like quantity than others. I've never had that. And then these I absolutely love, but I'm not the fan of. I'm not that big on caramel, but I like this candy because it's just like not straight caramel. I've never had sweet tarts ropes. I've never had these. Now Bunch of Crunch. I always get this at a movie theater, and it is amazing. It has to go S tier for me. And then Starburst gummies I have never actually had. I've never had a Wonder Ball. Never had Skittles gummies. And then these I have had. They're honestly a solid B tier for me. Not the worst, but not the best. I have never had a Reese's Sticks. Like sour. Never a Snickers peanut butter brownie. Haven't had a Zagnut before. And haven't had a Hershey's popping candy. Never had a Reese's Big Cup. Never had a Reese's potato chip Big Cup. That sounds kind of gross. Then Rolos are pretty good. I'll have to give them a solid B tier. Haven't had the crispy crunchy Reese's or cookie dough Twix or Take 5 or the pretzel Big Cups. Never had this. Don't know what that is. Never had a creamy Reese's. But then cookie dough bites are a solid S tier for me. They're honestly amazing. They're extremely good when frozen too. I haven't had a Mallow cup. Then haven't had a butterscotch one or one of those squashy Smarties. Never had a crunchy Reese's. Never had Fruit Loops gummies. I haven't had rock candy actually, or Now or Later. Rice Krispie treats are pretty good. I have to give them a B tier. And then haven't had the Airhead Extreme Bites. The Fruity Pebbles I would honestly give an F tier, in my opinion. I'm not that big of a fan of them. And then what is that? Caramel Cold Brew M&Ms. I've never had them. Outrageous Reese's. Peanut Butter Snickers. Haven't had them. Or the Bubble Jug. Or this. That. Or the Caramel Big Cup. Alright, I'm going to kind of rework this quickly to put them in order of what ones I like the most. Alright, I'm going to put that there, then the gummy bears there, then right before that, I prefer Bunch of Crunch over normal Crunch bars, and then those are in last for that. I prefer Pixie Sticks over Sour Patch Kids, M&M's over Skittles, but cookie dough over Skittles. Right then, 100 grand and all of these. I honestly will give Fun Dip over here, Lifesavers, then 100 grand over there. Right, Jolly Ranchers right here. Airheads I'd put behind there. I'd give probably Warheads right there. I'm going to put 100 grand in last. Then the Lifesavers are before Mr. Goodbar. Ring Pops are right before Whoppers. Alright. Then for this I would go with this Hubba Bubba, the Almond Joy. Then I have to go with the Three Musketeers, then Wax Bottles, then Dots and Gobstoppers, then the Caramello, then Hershey's with almonds right after Kit Kat, and then I'll switch these two, and Welch's Fruit Snacks right before those. Alright, then as we go down a bit more, Mounds I will put right behind Reese's, then these have to go before Candy Corn, Hubba Bubba before Butterfinger, then I will put Lemonheads before Junior Mints, and then I feel like this is good, just gonna switch those two around. Alright, then D tier, I'm gonna put that down into F here, then I have to put Jelly Belly right before that, and then Swedish Fish before that. Alright, and then this is just what I like more than others. Right here, Milk Duds and have to go there. Alright, here's my ranking. Let me know if you guys think I did it extremely well or wrong. Just let me know down in the comments. I've actually never tried a lot of these candies, but still I've had a good amount. Alright, that will be all it for right now. Goodbye.